This episode of Print TV is brought to you by Promo Print Ventures Limited.
We're Promo Prints, and we're the factory based in Surulere, and we produce, we're from start to finish, we produce t-shirts, we brand, we have the first, the only automatic that I'm aware of right now, automatic printing carousel, so we can print at least 400 pieces an hour of lovely screen printed t-shirts, engraving, transfers, anything from start to finish.
Hello people, welcome to Print TV. This edition is going to be fantastic. My name is Akin Oduwole. I'm the CEO of Technology Global Services. Today we'll be looking at challenges in the Nigerian printing industry and possible solutions. With me is Oyinbo, but I want her to introduce herself.
Hi everybody, my name is Patricia Ojora and I run Promo Print Ventures. I've been in printing for about 20 years, so 20 years in 2020. And we've dealt with so many solutions, so many problems, and you see I started with solutions, not problems, because that's what focus of today is.
So let's kick the ball rolling. We'll first look at the problems of high cost of funding in the printing industry. We know that the printing equipment are quite capital intensive, and it's never very easy to go into printing without some good fund. So for you, how has it been? How do you get your funding? Is the cost of funds really high? Are you comfortable with the way you get your funding today? Are you developing at the rate which you think you should develop? I mean, let's talk about the cost of funding.
For me, I grew organically, so I had lost everything in my former ventures and started with family and friends' money and printing in other people's places before I started buying my own machines. So I would say that I started, I was slow in growing, but it has been to my advantage. Now, what I'm saying about funds, obviously we all realize that SMEs are difficult to, the banks are not very keen, even though they say they are, to be able to give us funds because the high percentage of people don't pay back or can't pay back because of problems. So now what we're trying to do, we're trying to push the government and trying to push the banks and the private sector to be able to give us better rates and also to shorten the time where the turnaround time from when we apply to when we receive. I've received a loan before and I've paid back. So I feel that once you also do that, you should be listed as part of the people who do pay back, and so that we're not starting from scratch when it comes to reapplying. So I think we should not give up on trying to push for lower costs of funding, because we in printing, they're trying to encourage production, trying to promote printing production in Nigeria and in any kind of manufacturing. So if we continue to push for that, especially with all our organizations, as a group, if we try and grow, like what I think we've discussed before previously with Nollywood and also many other industries that have grown because they've been seen to be a force, and then we can move on with that.
Oh, there's also the creative industry. The creative industry is also attracting a lot of facilities, a lot of loan this season. So. Yeah. I think people should also get familiar with what facilities are available. And I know that for women, for those in production, I mean, there's some really good facilities for those in the creative industry. But I don't know how interested the people in the industry are, or how receptive they are to this.
I think they're very interested. I think it's a matter of, as I said, of the time, because sometimes the turnaround time can be up to a year. Even though you are told that, oh yes, return you can get from application to disbursal can be about 2 months, it really usually doesn't happen. And I think we should stick to the facts as opposed to what they say, as opposed to really stick to what actually happens. So we also as a group have to push more, because we cannot grow without funds.
If I hear you well, we need to come together as a group,
yes,
and become a voice that the industry, that the government or the banking sector would listen to.
And take seriously.
Thank you for that, ma'am. Okay, so the second problem we're going to look at and provide solution to is that problem of unhealthy competition. Do you have unhealthy competition in your sector?
Oh, definitely. It's a man-o-man in the printing industry. But what can you do? I have found actually that the more educated and the more enlightened we all are in the printing sector, the more we collaborate. So collaborations are great because you cannot be all things to all people, really. So that is what we need to kill. This whole thing about I am the only one that can do this. This market is huge. Even considering other aspects of printing that we can go into. If I collaborate with you, I collaborate with Aki on some things, I collaborate with some of my other competitors on quite a number of things. The amount of advice, the amount of things that if I have let's say a bad experience with the product, I'm going to tell my fellow competitors, don't use that product or use this or whatever. And I think we are growing together. So it is getting better. It is getting better, but it's still there. People will still try and undercut you sometimes, but definitely, I think we're improving when it comes to unhealthy competition. The one thing that I would say is that because everybody wants to be a silo, and there's a limit to how much you can do on your own. So if I'm strong, we are stronger together, which is why we keep on pushing this whole thing about the collective. We are stronger together. If I can produce only 20,000, but I get a job for 100,000, why can't I bring in my people and produce the 100,000 instead of saying I cannot do the job?
So what I hear you say is that we should focus our energy on positive competition. And with positive competition, we mean that we can collaborate and make money together.
Definitely.
We can make the industry stronger. We can become the go-to people in the industry. And then we can also mentor other people to come into the industry and grow. And at the end of the day, everyone is happier.
Everybody is happier. And it's interesting actually because sometimes a company may give a job to my competitor. They may ask us to do the sample. We'll do the sample and we'll give it to them. And we'll say, oh boy, when you get the job, bring some more. You know what I mean? And it works like that, We all have to hold hands and move forward.
I think sometimes also is the pricing, yeah? People want to beat your price. And many times people do not calculate what it really costs to get the job done. So they just want to beat your price.
Yes.
And that's what brings about price war. And price war, I think, is very unhealthy.